Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. Today I'll be joining the ladies for Sketch Sunday, and in the top left corner of the screen in a few moments you'll see the sketch that we're all going to be using today. Now I'll go ahead and link everyone's videos down in the description box so you can go on over and check out their videos where they use this same sketch on their layouts. And that sketch was done by Sarah Scraps. It's a lovely sketch. I noticed right away and was excited because I saw that mixed media type element on the bottom of the photo clusters you see in the center there. So I'm going to be using the sketch together with these photos here. Now I do use just one of these photos. I printed out two, one in black and white, one in colored. I'm going to use just one, but I am also doing the Tracy Reed Scrap Harder challenge, and the challenge that I'm doing today would be to use a bad photo. And I love this photo of myself and my daughter, but if you look closer you'll see that there's a reflection in her glasses, and also part of my face is cut off, but I still wanted to go ahead and document this photo today. So first up, I am going to work on my background using this really busy and colorful and really bold pattern paper. Now this pattern paper is part of my January DIY stash kit, and if you have not seen the kit that I'm using, I will link that video down in the description box along with all of the items that I used today on this layout. Now here I'm just gonna go ahead and begin working on my background. So my idea for my background would be to use the pattern paper as a frame. First of all, you can see I cut it out the center. Now I'm going to remove about a half inch off two sides. Actually, that's about an inch off two sides of the part of the paper that I gutted. Here I am using this white cardstock just as a foundation piece, just to build my background on. And I'll go ahead and adhere that frame first of all. Now my idea here, I want to use the back side of this pattern paper as well. You can see it's a really lovely peachy color, and I am going to go ahead and cut the two strips that I removed earlier. I'm going to cut both of those in half. And you'll see next I will use those strips around the centerpiece but flipped over to the back side. And here I'm just building it around that centerpiece so you can see exactly my idea. But when I saw the white around the centerpiece, I also like how that looked. So I want right now to add a bit of white along with that peachy color around that center part of my layout. So I'm not sure what happened when I went ahead and adhered all of these strips to my background. I have a little piece missing on the top left corner, but I'll fix that later on. You'll see how I go ahead and fix that. But for now, I'm gonna go ahead and cut a bit off each side of the center piece of pattern paper. And once I adhere it down in the center of my layout, you can see now I have a border of the white and that peach colored pattern paper, which is the back side, of course, of the floral piece. So now I'm going to add in a bit of detail using some washi tape, and the one that I'm using is a rose gold color that went really well with the colors in this pattern paper. So I'm going to go ahead and add just one strip on the top and the bottom, and on the left and the right side I'll add two strips in. I did consider adding in two strips all the way around, but it was just a bit too much, so I'm just gonna stick to one strip on the top and the bottom. Now this also hide a little bit of imperfections when I cut my pattern papers. For some reason they weren't exactly straight, so this hid a lot of any of those lines, those edges that wasn't quite straight. And you can see I'm lining up my pattern paper there, the entire layout with my mat, and just making sure that the washi tape would be straight. Now also gonna go in with a piece of that peach colored pattern paper, part of the scraps that I cut off from the center part, and I am gonna piece together the missing part on the top left corner. And because of the pattern on that paper, you cannot notice that it's joined. Also, the washi strips hide a lot of it, and because this pattern paper is so busy, the background is just so busy, you hardly even notice if that was missing at all. So now I'm going to work on the mixed media part of the layout. So I'm going to pull in here some gesso. I'm using some white gesso. I'm using it together with my silicone brush. And I'm carefully and slowly gonna go ahead and swipe it across the bottom part of my layout. And you can see I'm barely putting any gesso down. I did not want to mess up this pattern paper. I absolutely love this paper. And I only have one sheet of it, so I'm going really slowly. I also pulled in some black, which you'll see in just a little bit. But right now I'm feeling a little bit better about how it's coming together and how it's looking. So I'm going a little heavier with the white gesso and making sure that it is visible. So now I'm going to add in a tiny bit of black. And here it looks a bit bold right now, but once it starts mixing in with the white gesso, I get sort of a toned down black. It's not exactly gray. It is still black, but it's a lot more toned down with probably variations of grays in there as well. So I'm going to go ahead and continue working on that. Then I'll use my heat tool and I will dry it. Now my pattern paper did buckle a bit because of this mixed media on it. And I will go in later on and add a second sheet of white cardstock just to add a little bit of more stability to the layout. And here you can see I'm just finishing up, and I love how this looks. Here I'm going to go ahead, give it a quick dry. I do try the back and the front. And now I'll begin working on my photo, and adding those layers behind it. So if you look at the sketch, you'll see there's 3 different layers in the center. And I decided to use this teal tissue as one of my layer. And whenever I get packages in the mail, if there's any tissue at all, I save it and I just reuse it like I am right now. Now I did have part of a doily that I used for another layout, and I tucked that in behind the teal tissue as another layer. And here I pulled out this textured paper, and I'm going to use that as the 3rd layer. There I added my photo directly on top of that textured paper, and you can see I ripped the edges of all of these paper here, just adding a little bit more texture to the layout. So now I have all of my layers adhered to my background. I'm going to go ahead and add it to that second piece of cardstock. And this is just some thin Joann's cardstock. I don't ever really use this except to build my layouts on if I piece together different pattern papers and so on. So now I'm going to go ahead and add my title. Now on the sketch, you can see the title is more towards the right side of the photo. I'm going to add mine directly below the photo. And I'm using these really dark red alphas. And this came with the Cocoa Daisy kit that I used throughout December and this month as well for my December memories. And I had it on my desk and it went really well with the reds in this pattern paper. So I'm going to add the word together. And next I'll go ahead and add is the best place to be. But I went ahead and wrote that myself. And I used just a brush pen. And I went ahead and cut it apart and added it right below the word together. So now I'm going to pull out some bits and pieces here from this tray that I keep lots of leftovers and embellishments and so on. I'm going to pull in these metal hearts. Those are from Felicity Jane. And I'm also going to add in some die cuts from the collection, the pattern papers from, which is the Marian Bride collection from Cocoa Vanilla. As if this did not already have a lot of florals, I am adding in more florals. I went ahead and popped up some of the floral pieces on foam adhesive, so they're adding a little bit of dimension. I added in some leaves as well. And once I had those adhered to my background, I went ahead and adhered those metal hearts using some glue dots. And you can see I'm just tucking in one of the leaves there using my liquid adhesive. So now with the glue dots, I'm adding 2 of those hearts to the top left cluster, 2 next to the cluster that's close to my photo towards the right, and 2 of those will be close to my title. So here I'm just removing a little bit of that teal tissue. I felt it just extended a little bit too much over to the right side. And I decided to go ahead and add some mixed media to the top. I felt like because I had that cluster on the top left corner, I needed some of that mixed media there as well, sort of a base, and to tie it all together. Otherwise, that cluster up there was just not connected, I felt, to the entire layout. It just did not look pulled together. So I am very carefully adding in, once again, my white gesso with the black. And you can see I'm being very careful. I do not want it to be too bold at all. And I'm using a moist baby wipes here just to sort of blend them together. And I added this even up on top of my washi tape. And surprisingly, the top part of the layout did not buckle like the bottom part did. And to finish things off, I'm adding in some black splatters using black India ink. And I love how this turned out. It's extremely busy. It's really bold. But I love how it looks. And I hope you guys enjoy the process today. Don't forget, check out everyone else's videos, which will be linked in my description box below, and see their take on this lovely sketch by Sarah Scraps. So here I have some still photos, and I want to thank you all for watching today. So until my next video, bye.